Hey, welcome friends. Apologies for being a little late. Here we are. It is the 20th of October 2021. This is Chat with Matt here in the Bright Light Beings, as I'm supposed to say, the Bright Light Client Attraction Process, which is the call I just got off, which is why I'm a bit late, because I sort of wasn't paying attention to time and I was answering questions and stimulating growth towards some of my clients being better at being seen as a bright light on the planet and thus attracting their best clients and or life to them. Anywho, hey Sister Jane. So here we are, chat with Matt, half an hour or so to talk about whatever's going on for you in the world, with an intention to stimulate the conditions that are ripe for transformation. It is full moon tonight, my time. Actually, it's early tomorrow morning. So it's about 16, 17 hours away, I think. The full moon will be exact. I will be doing a call in 23 hours from now. So an hour earlier than this tomorrow on Instant Teleseminars. I have put out the links for that in the feed, either just up or just below this live stream on the Bright Light Beings group. So that's free light language session around making the most out of this full moon experience. It is an awesome time, I feel, a very pertinent time to be dancing with. I think in the new moon we were talking about how to use sort of anger in a more empowered way, because many of us are feeling that our needs are not being met by our society and our governments that are continually sort of contracting around their response to the virus, and wanting to mandate various experimental procedures and the whatnot, and not just mandate those, but produce passports and etc. etc. This whole situation with the virus and the vaccine, supposed vaccine. Anyway, so this full moon, I'm really feeling the pull. Mantara's guidance is really to go into helping people find their empowered freedom to advocate for themselves and to be a good example or an inspiration or an influence on the planet. How because we've seen that many people have tried to awaken the masses by sharing information, and it hasn't worked so well because we're up against a machine, the mainstream media machine, that has branded all other information as conspiracy theory, etc., and have brainwashed a large percentage of the population is brainwashed into following the authoritarian advice and going in lockstep with their agenda. The way I feel that we can make a difference, rather than fighting this brainwashing with more mentality, right, rather than trying to tell them facts and figures and shake them awake with the potential problems with what's happening, I think we have to move more into an energetic way of dealing with this, to basically awaken them energetically, to get them out of the brainwashing. You can't fight the same problem with the mind that created the problem. So I think solve is a better word. You can't solve the same problem with the mind that created the problem. So we have to work more to help them expand out of the mentality that has been brainwashed. So rather than trying to change the brainwashing, we expand them out of mentality and help them access their heart and to awaken in that way. And the way that we do that is not through preaching and teaching, but through resonance, through vibration. There is a place to still be visible, protesting and offering alternate to the narrative that is being widely publicized. I do believe that is valid as well, to collect together those that are awake but scared, and I think that is valid. But the opportunity with this full moon and the calls that are coming up is to really find your own freedom and break out of the fear of the controlling narrative, right? Because that's what's keeping us small, but to really find deep, authentic confidence in your empowered freedom to be energetically influential on this planet right now. And however you choose to express that energetic influence out there externally is valid. So that is where we are going with this full moon and with the offering that we will be making tomorrow, similar time, a little bit earlier. And for those of you who are local who might catch this to me on the Kapiti Coast, tonight at 7 at my house, we're doing it looks like we're collecting quite a nice little crowd. So if you're keen for that, come along. Obviously you can reach out to me either email or messenger and I'll give you the address. And we'll do it in person in the lounge room. That's all cleared out because it's cleared out. Marie's doing yoga there right now. Anywho, some questions I have pre-written in. I've got 2 bottles of water here. I'm going from one call to the next this morning. Tracy said, well, I don't have too much going on personally except dealing with having almost no responsibilities. For those of you who don't know, Tracy is, I'll read that in a second, Jane. Tracy is traveling around through the Americas. So she's in this lovely position that I was in for several months where I was over in the Cook Islands where all of this shit wasn't influencing me. She goes on to write, sounds dumb, but it's hard to get out of the guilt habit, and it's pretty free and easy here in Utah. No mandates, no masks hardly. Meanwhile, friends elsewhere struggle with vaccine passport issues. Yeah, so relax and trust that I'll get onto that. I don't know why your network's not working, Jane. Maybe yeah, I'm not quite sure what this is referring to. So, trust Tracy and others of us who have found ourselves in places where we do have a more free and easy lifestyle, whether it be through our choosing or through our good luck. Allow yourself to definitely expand out of the guilt, right? I've talked to people about this for years about various things. I've helped counsel people through this idea that how can they really enjoy life when they know people are starving in Africa, etc., 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 right? Or, war is being raged in various parts of the Middle East, etc., etc., etc. There are always people on this planet who are having a harder time than others. The point is not to be frivolent about people suffering in other places, but in no way does it serve people who are having a hard time for you to feel guilty about the fact that you are not. Guilt is one of the lowest vibrations and not one that helps anyone. The point being is to make the most out of the situation that you are in a way that is beneficial to the all. So for Tracy, in a space where you're not being beaten down and contracted and feeling the brunt of the external pressure around you, the authoritarian overlord suppression and control and trying to mandate this and that, allow yourself to utilize that as a benefit to expand out your vibration in a way that is influential to the whole of creation, the whole of the planet. So this is pretty much what we're doing tonight. Rather than getting caught in the fight against the controlling mechanism, we're choosing to get into the vibration of being the most expansive expression of ourself, the most expansive expression of empowered freedom ourself, because vibration is everything on this planet. This whole experience that we're having is a manifestation of a vibration, of thought form, of our belief systems. This is what we're experiencing. We're all living in our own realities created by our own perspectives and our own expectations. And so the more that we can utilize options to be expansive, because we're not feeling the direct pressure of being under the thumb of people who are trying to take away our freedoms, the more that we can advocate energetically for that freedom, right? And of course, you can take that vibration back into more difficult, tricky situations where you're dealing face to face with the oppressors in a way that you are vibrating in such a high frequency that they have trouble touching you. They have trouble getting hold of you because you're already of a different mindset and a different energetic makeup, right? You are vibrating in a way that doesn't align with them controlling you. And so that is very beneficial, because those who have been worn down by the successive manipulation tactics, the gaslighting, the advertising, and the turning of of families inside out and friends against friends, etc., etc., right? The social manipulation that's been going on and has suppressed and subdued a lot of people's vibration. They're getting worn down. When you can go back into the situations with a higher vibration, whether physically or from a distance, right, just connecting with these people, your friends and the people that you know are having a hard time, and being a voice of hope with a vibration that is uplifting, that is incredibly beneficial and is a very important part of the process. I remember back in the days when I was heavily into yoga, the concept that there was a handful or a small number of very highly evolved beings meditating consistently and incessantly in the Himalayas, right, was a huge stabilizing effect on the whole earth, right? These people dedicating their life to emanating a vibration through their physicality, which is a very light physicality, because these people were existing in such a rarefied state of being, but nonetheless, their presence, even though they weren't walking in the world and one-to-one influencing people, they were removed from the world in a remote, high energy vibration, but their intent was very beneficial to the whole planet, right? And so it's the same for all of us, and we don't need to be extreme in that, right? We don't need to go to the Himalaya and just meditate, nor do you need to sit at home and just meditate. But the fact that you are choosing to maintain your vibration as you move in the world, is very influential in a positive way. And it's not all about standing on a soapbox or waving a placard. It is about being the change that you wish to see, right? Mahatma Gandhiji's slogan, be the change you wish to see. Be it energetically, be a manifestation of empowered freedom, even though there's various, authorities trying to diminish our sovereign freedoms here on the planet. So hopefully that helps. Definitely let go of guilt and allow yourself to use the situation in an empowered way. We're not all supposed to be standing shoulder to shoulder on the coalface, on the protest lines. It's important that some of us are removed from that so that we can maintain a very strong vibration, and then energetically share that out with those who are standing, in a more precarious situation and are subjecting themselves to much lower vibrationary influences. Hopefully that makes sense. Suzanne from up in Auckland, New Zealand says, I feel like everything is happening to New Zealand, but particular Auckland, so surreal. It looks like we'll only be able to travel out of Auckland go out for dinner if we are double vaxxed and have negative test, right? So the latest information, for those of you who don't know, here in New Zealand is our lovely Prime Minister is bringing in, the vaccine passports basically, and basically it's gone from no jab, no job to no jab, no job, no fun. This is the new slogan. Awesome. Well done, Jacinda. For fuck's sake. So yes, they're increasing the pressure to get people to buckle and go and get the vaccination, right? Because they know this is the point. They're getting incredibly desperate right now to get as many people vaxxed as soon as possible, because they know the shit show is about to be revealed. The evidence coming out from other parts of the world and from here in New Zealand is getting overwhelming, and doctors are not going to be able to be kept under the under this control for much longer, because the number of adverse reactions to this vaccine, all 4 of them in America, but particularly the Pfizer one that is being rolled out here in New Zealand, is abysmal, and will go down in history as one of the biggest crimes against humanity. And I don't say that lightly, but this is what is coming out. And while they have done a very good job in suppressing this information thus far and not making it widely available, I do believe that that is going to fall and falter over the next couple of weeks. And it is going to become very, very obvious. There's some big court cases going down. There's more and more doctors not able to stomach this propaganda any longer and toe the line, despite the fact that they are being, and have been coerced and threatened significantly. People do have a moral compass, and it is, a part of this full moon intensity is helping people to really find their moral compass and stand out against the tyranny of oppression and cohesion, whatever. So last-ditch efforts to try and get as many people into this program as possible. So the time right now is not to, Susan and all of us here in New Zealand and in other parts of the world, Australia and wherever else it's being really intensified, is not to give in, is not to feel that the pressure has become too great. Now is the time more than ever to stand together in solidarity and realise that their desperation and the lengths that they're willing to go to right now, which are, ridiculous to believe that any supposed free state would be bringing in such totalitarian policy. But yet here we are, and what's concerning, of course, is that there's a huge percentage of the population who's all for it, because they've been so indoctrinated into the fear-based response, right? They've been so indoctrinated into the narrative. But here we are, and this is where we are, and it is, I feel, imperative that we stand together and don't buckle under this idea right now that, I won't be able to travel, not even domestically. I won't be able to go out to dinner. I won't have a job. I won't have this. I won't have that. I don't believe they're going to win. Unfortunately, they are winning in quote unquote vaccinating a huge number of people, and we're going to see how that comes out over the coming months, years, and decades. But we're not going to allow them to win, to bring us into such a social credit system and complete control of our freedoms, as which they are trying to do with these passports. The vaccination is just the tip of the iceberg of what they are trying to achieve. So, I know a lot of you might be going, "Oh, Matt, you're wearing a tin hat, and this is a big conspiracy theory." Unfortunately, it's not. And there are some very high-level, very respected scientists who are anything but conspiracy theorists, who are presenting information now that is, extremely alarming, and not at all conspiratorial, right? This is just cold, hard facts of what's going down. And while it's hard to piece it actually all together to get the complete picture at this stage, it doesn't matter. We don't need the complete picture. We know what's not beneficial for our society right now, and that is these levels of mandates against the perceived threat that is not really a threat. All the data is showing that COVID is not such a big threat if it is treated in the right way. The point is that the treatments have been suppressed, the treatments that work, and full reliance on the idea that the vaccine is the only way forward, which is showing to not work and increasingly shown to be dangerous. And as time goes on, more and more people from right back in the initial trials now are coming out with adverse reactions of epic proportion and dismaying levels of interference with their ability to live a normal functional life, right? People who did the first randomized, not randomized because the trials weren't randomized at all, the first, human trials back 9 months ago, more and more is now stepping forward with problems. And we're also seeing, according to the science, that the booster shots, every shot that you take, there's, the best science is saying that it's probably going to increase the likelihood of adverse reaction by 80 times, 80 times, 80 times more adverse reaction, more severe adverse reaction, or more likelihood to have an adverse reaction with each and every booster that you have moving forward, with each and every addition to this toxic load of mRNA particle, and the way that basically creates a very dangerous spike protein in your own body. It's completely untested technology, pretty much, and to be rolling it out across huge swathes, percentages of our population seems incredibly crazy, but there you go, that's where we're at. I'm just going to go back to what Sister Jane said. Jane said, I'm feeling so fed up with everything right now, not sure what to believe, too much work to do, and trying to sort health, which is a slow process. Winter darkness and cold approaching. I know I'm feeling what I'm releasing, but how do I keep going through this? Yes, I know about walking in nature, meditation, etc., but it's hard to do when I'm working so hard. Yeah, I think it comes down to prioritizing, Jane. And if we work to live, we don't live to work. And it's important for all of us to prioritize how much time we spend working and how important our work really is. And I know, part of your job is very important, but you're not going to be able to do your job well if you're not looking after yourself. And at this time, it is very imperative. I know that's not great English. It's a sort of a double whatever, but it's imperative that you do look after yourself and you do take measures to help you release or at least mitigate the stress response, because you're working in a high pressure situation, and we're all living in a high pressure situation, and there is so much negative influence from the world around us right now, energetically, mentally and emotionally, socially. There's a huge amount of pressure on us that's making it very hard to be relaxed and to feel comfortable in our beingness and to do our jobs well, right, as a expression of who we be. So it's important to remember that what you're feeling is what you're releasing, and that, and to keep coming back to that. I'm no different. I'm wading through this same process myself. It is very easy to get discordant, dismayed, depressed in the experience of the density that's being shaken loose right now. It's not easy to maintain an empowered attitude and an allowance to this experience, and yet that's what we're called to do. So we're being called to do something that's difficult, so it's important and beneficial that we are compassionate with ourselves and that we are doing what is necessary, what is most beneficial for us to move through this experience more effectively. So hopefully you got that. I know you reported that your maybe your Wi-Fi, etc. was not working so well, but hopefully it's there for you, at least in replay. What else, my friends? Very happy to answer any questions or speak to any requests. I know, yet again, Chat with Matt has turned into vaccine/mandate talk but that's what's topical. It's topical for many of us right now. But as I said last week, I am very happy to dance with whatever you feel is coming up for process, and that you might need some help with how you're dealing with, relationships, etc., etc., etc. at this time, and spiritual concepts and all of the rest of it. I'm very, very happy to dance in those realms as well, shed some insight and create some expansive inquiry and energetics. So recapping, this full moon is going to intensify all that we're feeling right now, and the angst of being this very controlling agenda is very topical. Awesome, Jane. I'm glad you heard that much at least. So be aware of that the intensity is going to be up, has been for a couple of days and will be for a few more. And really allow yourself to remember that this intensity is not a bad thing. And while we do have to take, measures to help us cope with it, it is actually an opportunity for us to embrace our empowered freedom. And the more that you can keep your attention on where you are going, what you're stepping towards, what your goals are, not necessarily just your, external human goals, but your energetic, spiritual goals, to be sovereign here on this planet, to be expansive and expressive as a beacon of light and as an influence to others. As you maintain that intent, trust that your intent is powerful, and don't get too caught up in measuring whether your actions are good enough, whether your effort is high enough. We can only act to the capacity that we have in the moments of now. Okay, just checking that the courier was going to leave that and not take it away with him. Don't, find this balance between maintaining your attention where you're going, maintaining compassion for the state that you're in, and choosing not to get caught up in what you are experiencing right now. Don't get caught up in the dismay of the intensity of the fears that are arising as these external narratives are stepping closer and closer and closer to us, right? The authoritarian threat is becoming more and more real in our external perspective. And so it's important for us to relax into that. Yeah, okay. And Sila, is that how you say your name? Sorry, I'm notoriously poor at reading names. But anyway, sister, I know this is common for many of us who have various members of our family who have chosen to go down the path of the vaccination. Worrying about that is not going to help at this stage. I know it's concerning. It concerns me. I've got, multiple facets of my family going down this route as well. We have to relax into trusting the process and the energies. It's not going to help them by filling them with fear either, right? Telling them whether they've done the wrong thing, that was a bad thing to do, it was terrible, this and that. All that we can do is be the brightest version of ourselves and the most sovereign version of ourselves, and stand for what we know is true, and not be shy of expressing that, but expressing it in a way that is not a fear-based. When the agenda is being pushed on everyone from a fear basis, you don't fight fear with fear, you fight fear with love. So our role in moving forward is not to fill people who have been vaccinated with fear that they've done the wrong thing and it's going to harm them or kill them, but to be loving and compassionate towards them and help them expand out of the influence of this experience. I'm trying to think of the right word to use for that, but to expand out of the effects of the substance. The point is, to not make it right just because the majority is doing it, to not cave in and choose to do it, well, everyone else has done it, I may as well do it as well. That is not great logic, and it is not helpful for the people who have done it, right? A lot of people think, well, my kids have done it, I should do it too, so we're all in the same boat together. That's not smart, and that's not beneficial. It's a hard name, similar to Angela, but with an S. Fully agree with your answer. Ansela. Okay, Angela Ansela. Awesome, Ansela. I will try and remember that. So your job is to be loving and open and not worried and contracted, to see your light helping them expand out of the influence of the substance that has been injected. I came to the realization, and I've always said this right from the start, that I'm not actually scared of the vaccine, because I recognize that I can, with strong intent and my energetic presence, basically expand out of the influence of the vaccine. So I could get the vaccine and not be concerned myself that it's going to adversely affect me. But that's not the point. I'm choosing not to just go and get it and use my energy to avoid myself having a adverse reaction, because I don't feel that that's for the best good of the society in general. I am going to speak out and say that I don't believe the vaccine is a good thing to do, and I don't believe that mandating it in any way, shape or form is justifiable or appropriate in a free democracy, or anywhere for that matter. I don't even believe it's the appropriate thing to do in a dictatorship. But so I'm standing on my principles here and choosing to speak out against this thing. And at the same time, I am encouraging people not to be fearful of it, but to choose in a loving way not to engage with it, not to give into it, because we can see that the agenda pushing it forward is a very fear-based, dense agenda. And our job is to not get caught up and entangled in that, but to rather expand out and apply love to everything. Not just peace, love, and mung beans, not just hide your head in the sand, not toxic positivity, but loving activism, right? Activism from love, actualizing your love into physical actions and standing firm in your right to be sovereign on this planet and to speak the truth as you see it, right? The truth as you feel is important to share. And it's not easy. And it's not easy to fall into a fear-based narrative, especially when you start seeing some of the recent evidence coming out and the collection of data around how many people are actually having negative reactions to this. It's hard to not fall into deep levels of fear and anger and all sorts, right, around that. But that's not helpful, right? Yes, be educated to give you stronger conviction in what you believe to be the most beneficial thing to do, but act from love, not fear. Act with the highest intention to help people out of this situation, not, contract in sympathy or resignation that it's terrible and the rest of it. I believe every situation and even every situation is recoverable from. And I do believe that there is the opportunity for a huge benefit to come to our society through this very same situation that we're currently all facing, right? This is part of the awakening, and we don't need to contract into fear that everything is going wrong. It is alarming, and it is a call for us to stand in truth right now and not allow this to roll on through. But at the same time, don't allow yourself to get overly fearful, because that's not going to be helpful. Fear is what is controlling us. And if we want to be sovereign, we must stand in our love. And acting from fear and protesting from fear and screaming and shouting and trying to get everyone to wake up from fear is not going to help. We must be loving, and we must be expansive, and we must be confident in the truth of who we be as a sovereign, energetic being here on this planet. And this is exactly where I am intending to facilitate the light language experience tomorrow, which will be available to you via recording if you can't make it live. I've probably done my half hour. I know I was late starting today. Yeah, 34 minutes. Chat with Matt yet again. Much love, my friends. I look forward to serving you moving forward in some way, shape or form. We are open for business. I do personal sessions. I do have various programs to help as well. And what do we call that thing? Support groups, which are not a massively high investment of time or money. So yeah, if you're interested, reach out. And in any way, if you think I can help you, reach out. It's not all about money, and it's not all about commerce. We're here to support each and every one of you as best we can, and at the same time make enough money that I can live the lifestyle that I'm choosing. Much love to you all. Bye for now. Bye.